Well, Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta, they are among the companies reporting results this week. Investors want to know how these tech giants are cashing in on their AI bets. Now, Microsoft stock has enjoyed a premium compared to some of its peers, in part because it's seen as being well-positioned this year on AI as the company deploys generative AI into its cloud products, and that can allow them to charge more fees. It is debatable so far how much gain they're going to see in their search business, Bing, from AI, but the cloud segment, if it's growing, that might keep investors satisfied. Google's parent, Alphabet, has been trading at a lower multiple than Microsoft. Part of that is based on investor fears the company's lucrative search business is in danger of being disrupted by AI. But if Alphabet can show continued strength in search or its YouTube business, that might dispel some of Wall Street's worries. And then finally, Meta, which has been a standout digital ad stock because of its success in applying generative AI to its stack. It's got big audiences through Facebook and Instagram. Layering in more chatbot functionality can help drive engagement. That can help the company show more ads. We'll see how that all plays out into the quarterly results. In the meantime, let's bring in Janet Bannister. She's managing partner at Scarecase Ventures and watches the tech sector very closely. Janet, nice to see you.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
It's nice to have you in a busy week for tech earnings where people are going to be saying AI this and AI that. When you look at those big technology companies, I mean, let's start with Microsoft.
Yeah.
What do you see that they're doing right now that stands out?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would say you look at all of those big tech companies. They're all spending billions of dollars in AI, but they're all approaching it slightly differently, depending upon where their core business is and who their customers are. So in terms of Microsoft, what Microsoft is doing is it is embedding AI in all of their products. So you mentioned Bing, right? They've got ChatGPT inserted into their, what they call their Copilot. They're inserting AI across their entire Office platform,
Office
so
360,
Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. And so we're really seeing that come across. What's interesting is all of those big players have come out within the last couple of months saying, hey, we're not going to get a huge bump in our earnings in the short term. You know, it's going to be a little thing, but really they are investing for the longer term.
And so as a tech investor, an early stage investor, if the companies say for the long term, they're investing in these AI tools to help make their suite of products better, do you look at that and say, okay, I'm going to make some investments in what I think are the next generation of companies, or the companies that might feed into that ecosystem based on that? Well,
what we look for, so we invest in both what I would call AI first companies and not, and by AI first companies, I mean companies that are, you know, their whole core existence, their core value proposition is all around generative AI. With those companies, we are looking for things that are not going head-to-head with a Microsoft or a Google, right? Not surprisingly. Those guys are spending billions. They have the customers. And so we're really looking for verticals or areas where there is a unique, where a vertical requires unique technical know-how, and so for instance, AI for drug discovery, AI for financial analysts, things like that are more niche, and I wouldn't call them niche cases, I would say they're specialized cases that the big players aren't necessarily focused on. And I think that's where startups can go in and have a differentiated value proposition that is tailored for a specific vertical, and that's where they have an opportunity to win.
Do you feel, that's very helpful, do you feel like there is a cap on how much AI can go into existing products to make those products better and to make more money from it? The only reason I ask that, like, let's use Meta as an example. So Meta's going to come out with their quarterly results. In the eyes of the public market, it was a bit of a roller coaster. They went into the metaverse.
Yes.
They kind of pulled back on that strategy. They saw the AI opportunity. They have been, like Microsoft, very busy trying to incorporate AI into their business. You might see that in the form of chatbots. Maybe chatbots create more engagement on their existing platforms. Maybe that creates more ad inventory. So you can kind of see how investors have gotten excited about this. But is there a point where maybe there's a cap on how much of that you can jam into the existing platforms? Or no? Is it like an endless opportunity?
Well, you know what? I'm not sure whether there's a cap or not, but I think what's interesting is to look at not just how can you improve existing products, with generative AI, which we talked about with Microsoft, for instance. But it's what are the new business models that can be created now that you have generative AI? And so, for example, let's talk about mobile phones, right? Mobile phones came along, and suddenly, let's say, for instance, banking. Okay, now I can do, rather than doing banking on my computer, I can do banking on my phone as I walk around. That's sort of interesting.
Yeah.
But even more interesting, I think, is something like Uber, where they said, wait a minute. Now that everybody has a phone in their pocket, how does that change how people can transport themselves? Or how does that change the transportation market within cities, right? And so I think those types of businesses, right, which are brand new, which could not exist without generative AI, or in this case, or in the case of Uber, without mobile, like those are really interesting. And I think that's where you have massive potential.
So just a final question for today on search, right? So I mentioned with Alphabet, people, even though they've had that they were seen as having an early lead in AI, people are concerned if people are able to do more search or be on other, I mean, it could be TikTok, it could be Amazon.
Yeah.
Is there a real danger of that traditional search business being impacted by this?
I think that if you're in the technology world, you always need to be afraid of what's going
Paranoia.
You always got to be paranoid. It's interesting. There are now rumors that Apple's going to adopt the Google's Gemini, right? And so who knows? We'll see what happens. But I think I would say to any tech company, you always got to be paranoid about what's coming down the